Today's my topic is collection and conveyance of water. So it means that how we collect the water and how we deliver the water to the public users. It comes under the classification also. What are the treatment methods to be carried out, and what are the distribution things are available for the distributing of water source to the public. First one, raw water. It means that the water cannot be done any kind of treatment. So it can directly taken from the lake or river, and it is supposed to it not to uh, being treated, and it was having the we having that water. Such kind of water is called raw water. So first one is gravity scheme, then semi-piped scheme, then pumped scheme. So from that scheme to we move to the treatment, and then after conducting the few treatment, then we can distribute the water to the public use. So this first topic is on intake structure. So intake structure is nothing but where we can collect the water for the people and for the to the supply of corporation, to the supply of people, and to meet the demand of the public. So that's called the intake structure. So we have the definition for this intake structure. So the definition for the intake structure in any water supply project, the first step is to select the source of water from which the water has been drawn. We have to find out so what kind of source, whether it is lake, river. So that source we have to find out that which where we can draw the water for the purpose of drinking. So then the device is installed for the purpose of drinking water from the source of water are called intake. So there where the purpose of water is taking for the drinking purpose, so that is called the intake. So there is a definition for the intake. So these are the intake structure. So the basic function of intake structure to is to help safely withdrawing water from the source and then to discharge this water into the withdrawal conduct. So here the conduct it means that it's a pipeline is called as another name is called conduct. So from the source of pipeline we can deliver the water through the public utilities. So through which it reaches the water treatment plant. So while we are taking the water from the sources and we have to deliver the water to the treatment unit, then the those kind of treatments are processed. Then the treatments are processed. Then it was uh, delivered to the public. It is constructed at the entrance of the withdrawal conduct and thereby protecting its being from damaged, clogged by ice and debris. Sometimes from the reservoir where the gravity flow is possible, the water is directly transmitted to the treatment through the intake structure. Directly, the water can be processed through the treatment structure and the treatment has been carried out. If the gravity flow is not possible, water entering into the intake structure then lifted by using with the help of the pumps. So always we cannot provided the water can flow through the gravity. So some may have the sloped area. So from that gradient, we are providing the pumping station to pump the water from the one source to the another source. So this is the intake structure. So how it was built and how it is allow the water to the allow the water for the treatment purposes. So another one more diagram. So this is the selection of location of intake structure. So how we can select the location for this intake structure means the site should be near to the treatment plant to reduce the conveyance cost. So it should be what's a conveyance cost means when we are taking the water from the sources, we should not go upon the long transportation. So while we are following the long transportation, it may demand the cost. So it will increase the demand of cost. So such a character we have to reduce it so that we can reduce the treatment cost and transportation cost and conveyance cost, etc., etc. So intake must be located in the purier zone of the source so that the best quality of water is drawn from the source to reduce the load on the treatment plant. So intake must never be located in the vicinity of the wastewater disposal point. So intake must be located near to the navigation channel so as to reduce the so as to reduce the changes of pollution these changes of pollution due to the waste discharge from the seas. The site should be such as the permitted greater than the withdrawal of water if required in the future. Point. So selection of intake structure, how the intake structure has been planned, how where the water has been discharged. So those two things has been selected for the this intake structure selection point. So intake structure should be located at the place from where it can draw the water even during the driest period of the year. So in some places there must be some demand of water. Demand of water may be available during the summer season. At that time, so the sources has been given to the public. So for that condition, we are going to develop the for that condition we are going to choose the location for the intake structures. So intake should remain easily accessible during the flood and should not get flooded. It mean meandering the river. The intake should not located on the coast and at least a sharp curve. So to avoid a sharp curve or deepest curve for the transportation or convenience of water, it will be easiest to the location we can find out the water for the. So this is the selection how the water can be get it from the source structure. So intakes for the collection of surface water. So there are different types of intakes are available. So the first types of intake according to the source. Source means where we can get this water. So there is a source, river intake, canal intake, reservoir intake, then lake intake. So these are four comes under the types of sources. So according to the question of intake, submerged intake, exposed intake. So according to the water tower, we can take it as wet intake, dry intake. So that's a situation based on the summer or winter season, based on the seasons can be classified into this comes under this category. So intake of for the collection of surface water, according to the portion of intake, a submerged intake, exposed intake may be to takes place. So there's a dry intake and wet intake. So there is no water we can use this intake tower. So this is the always we are using this intake tower. That's simple then. So these are the classifications. And we are mainly having this the different types of intake structures. So river intake is the main thing. And from that river intake, we have twin well type of intake structure, single well type of intake structure. So twin well type of intake structure are classified again into fall into three categories: an inlet wall, an inlet pipe, and jack well. So this is the diagram which shows the. So the next most important is canal intake. So canal intake is nothing but in a case of small town nearby irrigation canal can be used as the source of water. The intake well is generally located in the bank of canal. So since the water level is more or less constant, there is no need to providing the inlet at different depth. So it is essential consist of concrete or masonry inlet chamber or well. Since the flow of area in the channel is obstructed by the constructing of intake well, the flow velocity in the canal decreases. So the canal should be lined on the upstream or downstream to prevent the erosion of the sides. So this is the diagram which shows the canal. This is the sluice way. So these are the different types of and advantages, disadvantages. So no obstruction to the navigation, no danger for floating bodies, no ice trouble. So there is a advantages of the intake structure. So that's my top this topic. Thank you.